do you feel like your husband and your kids have noticed?
Demands and stress levels in my life, that's all externally still the same. But I handle it differently. I live my life differently. When you are like really depleted, you start getting depressed about it. And then nothing has colors, nothing makes sense. And then suddenly, when I'm feeling good, I was like, forgot that I really like my life, forgot that I love my job. Even your kids, like you still love them, but you're like, yeah, I can't play with you. I'm too tired. They need you not to be this mom that's always tired.
Hey there, I'm Bria, and welcome to the Period Whisperer podcast. If you're over 35 and ready for real answers about your hormones, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and stay with us. Welcome back to the Period Whisperer podcast. I am just thrilled to be here today. Every once in a while, I get to finagle one of my amazing clients to come onto the show and vulnerably share some of their journey of us working together. I think these are so important for you to hear yourself and other people, for you to understand what should be normalized, what should not be normalized, and what's really possible out there for you. So today I have one of my now friends, I would call for sure. I think that's part of what happens when we go through like the months and months together, isn't it? Who is going to tell you about her story, about what we went through, about how she has changed through the journey of her perimenopause. And I am just eternally grateful and thankful to have this friend, Dragana. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me, Ria. And thank you for everything else that you've done for me, which we will cover. You've done so much for me.
Well, I
So
would say it's my pleasure, but you're the ones that do the work, like and you really did. And I think that's, why you're here today. And I'm really thankful to have you share your story. So thank you again. So I always like to start a little bit about like who you are so women can recognize themselves in you. Like tell us a little bit about you, like where you live, what your career and life and responsibilities, the stress level is like and age
mhm.
to it.
Let's start with the age. I'm 46, which is, of course, important part of the story.
Yeah.
uh, and I live in Norway, so which I didn't grow up here. I'm originally from Serbia, so I've been living in Norway for like 20 so years, something around that. Yes. And yeah, I have, let's start with family, a husband, and two daughters. One is 9 and one is almost 6.
Young.
And it's getting, yeah, easier in some way, but I guess it will get harder at some point in some other ways. But it's this really, yeah, nice, I think, point where we are at right now. And then, yeah, we are a pretty international family. My husband is from the US and we moved here together. So I work in academia, in social, like kind of field of social research. I don't have to say too many details about it, but yeah, a demanding career in many ways, but also very interesting and giving career. But yeah, it takes a lot,
Yeah.
especially when combined with family. Yeah, and that's kind of the main thing about me to start with.
And when we or before you reached out, maybe like what had been going on that had reach out in the first place? Like what were you feeling? What was happening, in your body and in your life that was maybe keeping you stuck or awake at night?
I would say that the part of that I consider retroactively perimenopause is mainly last 3 years. I've been having some really, well, to tell you in more detail, but serious challenges. But I kind of have to start a bit back because and you could guess from my age and the age of my kids, had kids a bit later. So I had my first daughter when I was almost 37, and then the second one at 40 in the middle of Corona. So in a way, maybe my perimenopause or whatever this all was, we will both talk about it, whether it was that or it wasn't only that, etc. But pretty much I went straight from 2 pregnancies and a lot of breastfeeding and those kinds of crazy hormones into, I guess, 40s. And so I was, it was a couple of years of feeling in some ways hormonally challenged. To call.
Hormonally chaotic.
Yeah, chaotic. Also before the last 3 years that I kind of officially start, or I consider the start of this journey. But I have my whole life had like strong PMS and things like that. So I kind of expected maybe my 40s to be chaotic, but what I didn't expect for, was what happened starting 3 years ago. First, I had suddenly a really, really wrong depletion and anxiety and insomnia and things like that.
Yeah.
And it took a year for me to kind of fix those. And then that was better. I was sleeping better, but suddenly I couldn't rest no matter how much I sleep. So last 2 years in like the real kind of chaos, because that's when main things started that I also contacted you because of those, and those were brain fog, a terrible brain fog, and a lot of bleeding. Have your sisters here, so I'm gonna share it with they can handle it.
Yeah.
It was 2 years, and that's also I think kind of coincides with when I discovered your podcast 2 years ago. But I only contacted you last September.
Yeah.
Like most of us, I thought I can, fix everything alone, and then I can fix it by doing more and pressuring myself more. And you talk a lot about this, and that was backfiring spectacularly. And in some ways, I would fix something and get better in some ways, but these two things that were really the main challenge, which is brain fog and a lot and often bleeding, that was just getting worse and worse.
You had figured out, like, you'd really worked on this sleep piece before we and so you're open to it. Like, can you share a little more of what worked for you there? Because I know so many women, well, yeah. So this is where Dragana did before we met. Uh,
Yeah, it is.
see, so if you can share what helped you, maybe that can
Yeah.
inspire others.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so at the worst of it, like, I mean, just to say that, like, like like all women, I had some challenges sleeping here and there, but like suddenly, that like 3 years ago, it was like I can't fall asleep. I was spending entire night sleepless, and the more it was happening, the more I was worried about it, and I got so stressed about it at the end that I was like completely desperate.
Yeah.
And that's where my friend shared with me this kind of approach that's called acceptance and commitment therapy. ACT, I guess they call it for short. That worked for me. And it's kind of newer approach in, I guess, psychology. Like still in here, for example, in Norway, they typically try to cure insomnia with CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. That one didn't work for me because it was like, oh, if you can't sleep, limit your sleep even further. If you didn't fall asleep for 20 minutes, get up and do something else.
Yeah.
And this act was very different. It was like, if you can't sleep, lay and rest, accept that you don't sleep. And paradoxically, when you accept it, then you kind of fall asleep. And it wasn't a straight line, same as the recovery that I went through with you.
Yeah.
It would, get better, and then through that approach, and then get worse. And then I would have, worse, but like, I would have this, what are they called when you
Relapse.
relapse? Yes. And it took a year, and then I kind of landed on pretty good sleep after all. And then actually, I realized that my whole life I was like, okay, I fall asleep easily, right, in the evening, but if I wake up, that's it. But with this, so no matter if it was 5 or 4 or 6, but I was still, young and getting enough sleep, so I didn't worry about it. I was like, I sleep, who cares?
Mm.
But now with this, like, since I worked on that, I actually learned how to fall back asleep. If I And I've learned it by letting go. So we can talk a lot about this, but like I guess there's a book I can recommend if you want to share it.
Absolutely.
It's Dr. Guy Meadows. I think it's called Sleep. Oh God, I forgot. Sleep and then something.
No, we put it in the show. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, sure. So that one was good. And that approach also there used to be. So I didn't even go to any like real expensive official therapy in that sense. There was an app at the time. I don't think it's yeah, available anymore, but that book is available. So
It really helped.
that was great. Yeah.
Love that you shared that, and I think it's important because one of the things that helped, I think, our work go so well is that you did have this perspective of progress is not always linear. So there like hiccups or little resets, you're like, "Okay, now
Yeah.
part of the journey."
That was really, yeah, that made it easier to accept the relapse when it was happening during our journey. Yeah. But it was also a reason why at some point I told you, "Oh, I don't want to tell you how I'm sleeping because I sleep best when I don't think about it too much." So I kind of, and you said, "I get it," because like kind of like the same way as you have clients who maybe have eating disorder and then don't want to over focus on food. That's why I didn't like. But yeah, yeah. So I'm sorry if that was challenging for you. But I was after all like,
Know ourselves, I think those are important. Yeah. It's right, it's like, "Oh, no, we focus on this, the worse it gets, so we're just
mm.
alone." There's
And you were really respectful about that.
and you were really open about it, which I always think is
Mm.
important in a coaching relationship. So, I know you said, like, the biggest things you were having these, like, heavy bleeds again. Yeah. Well, yeah. This just kind of I just remember our first call and you're, like,
Mm.
utterly depleted and the brain fog,
Hmm.
even like
Yes.
you couldn't work at capacity anymore.
No, I couldn't.
And your kids are young, so, like, they're so
Yeah.
demanding when they're that.
Yeah.
But I think we also recognize some digestive issues. We recognize,
Yes.
that you were like, "I can't lose weight." Like, I think there was,
Yes.
snowballing into a bigger picture.
Yeah. 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 The weight kept creeping up no matter what I did. And also, I did also try different things before. So you know, as you said, I couldn't even like at that point when we talked, I couldn't even work. I had to be on sick leave, which I was lucky enough that I live in a place where I could get a sick leave for that. But I know I was feeling that the official medicine, that's all that did for me, and it's great that I was able to do that. But like then I felt like I'm not getting anywhere. Despite the best wishes from the doctors I would see, I'm not getting ever anywhere with it because of the limitations that they had. So yeah, that's why I finally reached out to you when I was like so desperate that I was like, I need somebody to help me here. I'm not. I don't got this.
I don't got that.
Yeah.
Important thing that we reach at some point is like, "Okay, I just don't have this." It's just I just
Yeah, I know.
and,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I know for us, like, I mean, I always wanna start with lifestyle and nutrition and things like that even before we get into lab work. What were some of the things that we did together in the beginning that you think moved the needle for you, that helped quick.
Yeah. Well, you made me rethink really like especially how much protein I eat. Which yeah, that was really I didn't even realize. I mean, I knew and heard protein was important. I was like, sure, I get some here and there, but like never really paid attention how much or measured it or anything like that. And then when you and I went through like what I eat during the day, you said you really don't eat enough protein, especially not until the evening. And then no wonder you were, like you feel like you have to snack all day or you have this food noise. No wonder because you actually are hungry. Because, despite that, so that was one of the things. What else did we focus on? Already at that point, even before we started working together, I already kind of cut out gluten and dairy for a while. I didn't really reintroduce gluten, but I reintroduced dairy since. So that part I already was doing. That was already a little bit helping. But then I think you also gave me some concrete ideas of things I should be eating and making and things like that. And what was really great was that you focused on not on amount or how often I eat at all in that first period. It was more like let's make sure you get enough nutrients into yourself because
Yeah.
that's the start.
It really felt like when we were talking, I mean, I think we can be Like, as women, I think we often don't trust what our own body is saying. Yeah. You were really intuitive about what was going on, and even just saying, like, how fatigued you are and the brain fog, we know you're depleted. I just didn't know how depleted you were until we got into labs, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Very quickly, I think I even remember on our second call you saying, like, "I actually feel better." Like, I think I feel from eating, just from eating of certain times of the day.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was great. We don't realize
Mm.
that, and it's not a
No.
perfect science for everyone, but I find that protein amount in the morning for
Mm.
people, like, makes such a
Yeah.
difference.
It does. It does. Yeah.
And I think I was pretty specific about, like, you can't work out for you.
Yes, you were. Yeah. And that, I mean, kind of, I was being like, listener before I became a client. I was prepared for it. And I kind of knew that, because also, like most women coming to you, I have been working out for years. And then when things started going like the way I didn't want it to go, in terms of how tired I was after workout and how it didn't like, make any difference in terms of the weight still kept creeping up. And no matter that, I was like, yeah, I hear, before you specifically asked that from me, I was like, I hear in your podcast that from other experts that like you recommend people not to do it. But it was like, I can't stop because that, what will happen then? Then everything will really, but you did, I was prepared for it. So I was like, okay, now you told me, and now I kind of, in a way, have a permission to do it. I'm doing it for the good cause. And also, what's the point if I, say go and do, and I used to do a lot of cardio and I used to love it. And that's another thing that, yeah, we'll get into. But, I would go and on my weekends and make myself go to the gym, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I finish at 11 and I come home and I'm unable to get up. I'm unable to do something for my kids. And I'm
Yeah.
done for that day, then what's the point? What good does it do? So, yeah, so I did listen to you.
You
But I didn't want to listen to myself before. Yeah.
That's interesting, I think normal, I'm the exact same way. We have someone who's like, "No, no, no, you need to stay, like, this is the right way, like, don't veer off." It's like bumpers on a bowling alley, like, sometimes we really act that's what coaching does, I think. It's like, "No, no, going, you're good,
Yeah.
you're good."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we had some good, like, you had already had some good sleep habits, so we didn't have to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
left that one alone. You had some good stress management habits, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Good meditation
Mm.
did already.
Yeah. Which is also just only last couple of years, that kind of ACT approach, not before that.
So when we shifted you to just kind of walking, really worked on that nutrition, we fortunately got
Mm.
to see some good movement right away. Uh, but like you said, it didn't okay. There was kind of ebbs and flows, certainly as our hormones ebb and flow. Um, and I think
Mm.
we got into some good testing for you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you had also been working with a functional doctor, which was wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find that
Mm-hmm.
helpful because we then have like a couple of
Yeah.
people around. So I didn't need to run blood work. We had the blood work, which was great, but we looked at a
We
GI.
had the blood work, yeah, and we did know ahead of time that my cortisol was too low,
Yeah, already,
which was really helpful. Yeah, yeah.
which explained a lot, I think.
It explained a lot, but then, yeah, the tests you did explain so much more in addition. Yeah.
So I think we did a Dutch, we did a GI map, and then a hair tissue, hair toxin mineral analysis. Um, what do you recall coming out of those?
GI map was so useful.
Yeah.
I mean, it was already clear to me that, my digestion and my nutrition is not the best, but then it did really show some specific markers that are causing that. Maybe also some things that explain brain fog in a way, like at least partially.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that one was really, really, maybe even the most crucial, because that's where you start from. So, from Dutch, so I can also share. With like openly that at that point, the one thing that's like how do you call it, that the medical system here, not one but like one of the few things it did for me was not the best thing, which is like when I went to a gynecologist a year ago with my, how do you call it, brain fog and bleeding, they put me on the birth control. And that birth control was really causing more problems than I originally have. And maybe it did mask the, bleeding and things like that. And I was so reluctant to going on it. But I was like, okay, I'm desperate. I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
So at the point why I share that, because at the point where when I did the Dutch test, we didn't really get the real picture of my yeah, on sex hormones, but we did get to see how they're clearing, which is, you can talk. I won't talk about it with the expert here. You can say more about it if you want. But we did see also the cortisol patterns, which was really important. Also testosterone, which wasn't part of the birth control. So that one, I guess, we could see the realistic picture, etc. So there's many things there that were yeah, useful to see. And it was useful to do it despite the fact that I was on birth control at the time. But I'm actually looking forward to retesting now that I'm off of it and really see where that's yeah.
Yeah, because
Mm.
at 46, like, you could very well benefit from hormone replacement therapy, but
Mhm. We don't know, yeah.
we can't get on hormone replacement therapy if we're on birth control, like, they're just
Yeah.
receptors, so it becomes a bit
Yeah.
confusing. I appreciate that sometimes we need to just do things and that's how our mouth
Yeah.
work around the world, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
need to understand, and what I found so fascinating about your diet
Yeah.
and your GI map was that,
Yeah.
okay, we knew you were completely depleted adrenally. You were having these heavy periods, which is indicative of a hormone imbalance. Why are we having this hormone imbalance? And that comes down to typically, how is our estrogen detoxing?
Yeah.
Burn in the gut. And for you, your liver was clearing it quite nicely.
Yeah.
Um, but it was the recirculation of it from
Mhm.
overgrowth and, opportunistic bacteria. And
Mhm.
that's important to know because it helps us with the path on get out.
Mhm.
Because had you not gone on birth control, but gone on hormone replacement there,
Yeah.
that probably would have caused a lot of weight gain and bloating for you,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
which, does everyone's head in, doesn't really help us.
And also what is really the tests were amazing for then you being able to give me the right supplements. And although I was on a lot of them for a while, they really all were for a reason and they helped me. And it wasn't done blindly. And same way with, like when I was put on birth control, they didn't test at all. They just put based on my symptoms. Okay, it looks like you could benefit from some extra estrogen. Oh, here's this pill that has bioidentical estrogen, but it only has synthetic progesterone. Take that. It's gonna solve everything. And it made me even more depleted, and it made me, yeah. It's just like there's many things that it did that did not benefit me. And you talk about sometimes in for some women it has its place, but I really never liked it. I never used to be on it.
Yeah.
Always hated like being on synthetic hormones, and whenever I tried, I reacted in one or other bad way. So yeah, I was very reluctant, but at that point, was so desperate that I went on it.
We all do it.
Mm.
Because of course,
Yeah,
we're desperate. I mean, it's not like life is slowing down. You have to manage a way through it. So
yeah,
you try any of the things you can try. But
yeah, exactly.
so I think you're right. It was with you, and this is where I think it's important that women understand, especially with running any labs, is that there is like a hierarchical order of operations that needs to happen. With a very low, like flat cortisol, like you did, had to support your adrenals before we could even go hard after the gut.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and we
yeah.
needed to support a bit of the gut at the same time, so we're digesting or getting
Mhm.
that nutrient, so there was a lot of
Mhm.
replenishment and support before we could even go in and kinda kill things off.
And that whole low cortisol was such a surprise for me because, like, you probably heard it from many people. We keep worrying about high cortisol. And it was actually first on your podcast that I heard about. Oh, actually, you can have all of these issues because you had high cortisol for so long that now it's just crashed. And then I was the one to suggest that saliva test to the functional doctor. So that was also thanks to you indirectly. And I was like, and now when I tell people, oh, my cortisol, like every woman I talk to and I has some kind of issues, and I say my cortisol was too low. What? I thought it can only be too high. I thought not that it can only be, but I thought only the problem is when it's too high. So,
Yeah.
but I think for me, for sure, looking back, it was so high for such a long time that it just, and that's why the depletion happened, and that's why at that point when we talked, I was sleeping for 9, 10 hours and wake up super tired, more tired than when I used to have sleepless nights.
Was there anything that we suggested or that we talked about that were like, "I can't do this. I don't wanna do that."
Don't want to do that.
You're pretty compliant, so I don't recall any, but
I must say that for some reason, getting more protein into me was so difficult. That was just like, try, and it's realistically shouldn't be, but yeah. So when you would keep reminding me of it, I think I would in between all each of our calls, I would be like, okay, like now I have to do it. I have to watch, and then I would like for watch less and less in and then you would remind me again of yeah, 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 the protein. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
and it's so annoying that it works, doesn't it?
It works, and then when you get used to it and when you see how it makes you feel, you actually like now I don't need that convincing. And it's so funny because also one of the things that like, I when I talk to my family about like, well, what are we gonna make and what are we gonna eat together? And it's like, oh, that doesn't have protein. And then my 9-year-old daughter is like, oh, now mommy is all about protein, protein, protein.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so funny.
Yeah, yeah,
We really had this kinda clear path where it was like, "Okay, we have to start with the nutrition, the protein, and
yeah.
gentle,"
Yes.
and then we had to really re-nourish and support with, like, minerals, so our adrenals,
Yeah.
get it
Yes.
that and then we got to do a bit of a kick
Yeah.
a little bit later on, didn't we, in the H. pylori,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
That's right.
transition off the birth control pill.
Yes.
'Cause it's now June, like, we started December, I always say, like, "We're gonna work together for at least 6 months, but you can't get rid of me. If you're not ready, we're not gonna ditch you yet until we get there." So, it was more like 8 months, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. Yeah. Mm.
How are you feeling now?
Well, I'm feeling really good. But yeah, so I like right now I can't believe how good I'm feeling, and I can't believe that only like yeah, in fall last year there was all those issues. I barely ever have brain fog. I won't say never, but like it happens occasionally and it's very mild.
Mhm.
And I know how to then stop and not push it. So say like my brain fogs used to get so bad because I wouldn't then stop. I would still then go to do a demanding work. I still would like, but the more and more I was pushing, the more I was like, I can't remember anything. I can't remember any words. And I'm normally like expected to and used to functioning in three languages every day. Yeah, and I suddenly couldn't function in any. And it was just so that part first of forward like that, but that got fast better. I think after we started working together, not everything did, and I can say a bit more about what like after 6 months of us working together, which was I guess February or something, we were at the point where when I was so much better with all the changes we introduced. I was the brain fog was much better. I wasn't depleted. I started working out again. I was starting to feel like myself again, but the weight part was still stuck up, which wasn't the biggest problem in the world, but it was. I mean, at that point, I remember telling you, fine, like I still would take, I mean, higher weight than I want and still and not having brain fog over like, losing it and looking, I don't know how amazing, and then feeling terrible. That's not the goal. So I really, which is not something I would tell you a couple of years ago, because like all women, I was conditioned and socialized to put that first and to value, also base my, value on the number on the scale and to keep chasing it. And so that, but it also was why it still bothered me at that point was because I was better in all the other ways.
Mm.
But it was showing me that my body is still in survival mode because there was no reason for it
Yeah.
not to go down. I wasn't, the way I was eating and how much I was eating couldn't explain why it keeps, and then it kept going up slowly. And at that point, I uh, I got open to peptides, which was one of the things that I didn't wasn't open to, before.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that so
It's it's
we did this. Yeah.
yeah, peace because I think like you said, what I have found working with so many women in this age box is that yeah, we need to do all of this underlying or
Mm-hmm.
our age, once we do the healing, like the body can get a little stubborn where it's like, now we have everything supported, all the pieces are in place. You're while you're yeah, while you're feeling well, you're working out and some results like strength, these
Yeah. Yeah.
like this the fat's not burning.
Yeah. 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 And it shows you then your body is not feeling safe, which is, and then that stressed me out. I was like, why isn't it feeling safe? What more does it need? And it was clear there was some issues with glucose, some issues with like communication between my gut and my brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, and I that was the then kind of really the I wouldn't say that moved the needle because everything else, like all the results that were really mattered, like getting me not to be depleted and getting me not to be like constantly feeling brain fog was way more important.
Yeah.
That was just a cherry on top of the cake, and then yeah, first reluctantly kind of started looking into it, and then actually saw really good results from it. And so back to your question, how I'm feeling now, I'm feeling like I'm myself again, or even a new, better version of myself. Like yeah. So I sleep well. I have energy most of the days. It's not, always. It's not ideal. It never will be.
Yeah.
But very rarely it happens that I, come from work and lay on that couch. Or if I do, I get up and then I still can do things with my family. And it didn't. It used to be just really for a couple of months. Last year was really the worst. For a couple of months, it was like I come home and I'm done. I can't. I can't. It's like say 5 or 6 p.m. and all I can think about when it's gonna be 9 o'clock, so I can just yeah, yeah. I didn't live my life fully at that point because it was impossible.
Even like the microdose of peptides kind of helped re
Yes.
reinstore the communication that we knew
Yeah.
a little stuck from inflammation, insulin resistance, and
Yeah.
that's just been like our final, as you said, cherry on top. But it's really and then for you, I think what you have said as well is you're about to do another Dutch test here soon. Great. So we can, after being off birth control for a while, finally see about hormone replacement. Will this also uh, I think it's gonna make a huge difference in some of these, even in that energy is not perfect. I think it'll tweak it even more.
Mhm. Mhm. And even if it doesn't, like I'm very, it's so because when you asked really initially about like demands and stress levels in my life, that's all externally still the same, but I handle it differently. I live my life differently because I'm able to accomplish things that I want to. I'm able to enjoy being, at different places and doing different things, and when you are like really depleted, you start getting depressed about it, and then nothing has colors, nothing makes sense. And then suddenly when I'm feeling good, I was like, I forgot for a year or two that I really like my life, that I of course I knew I love my family, but I didn't get to, like I see it all, like, I forgot that I love my job. Like everything was like, I don't have energy for this.
Yeah.
And when that gets to be even your kids, like you still love them, but you're like, yeah, I can't play with you. I'm too tired. You can come here and hug with me. Like I still love you, but that's sad, They need you not to be this mom that's always tired.
Yeah. Well, and at 46 is so young, right? When you think about that, I do. I'm like, 46 is
Yeah.
young. You see, like, people living, driving into their 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
46 is like,
Yeah.
right? And we've got some time. So, um, how do you feel like your husband and your kids have noticed?
I think so. Although I definitely noticed that I have more patience, which is another thing when you're very tired and depleted. Then it's as you said it, and I really do like that metaphor. You don't have the bandwidth; you just breaks if you stretch too far. So I think they did. Yeah, I hope so. My husband definitely, yes, we talked about it, but then, with kids,
I may not.
yeah, yeah, but they do say some really nice things about, oh, like, some about some things that we do, or they are like actually, not that it matters to them how well I look, but I'm still their mom. But lately, when because I've actually lost, what is it in pounds? Oh God, I function in kilos, 8 kilos, whatever that is in pounds.
Did you say 8 kilos?
Yeah,
About 20 pounds, probably.
yeah. Something around that. And then it's not that that matters to them, but like, oh, mom, that thing looks really nice on you. Or you're wearing this again. You didn't wear that for a couple of years because they're both girls and like to dress up. So I think it also matters to them because, like, of course, it's not about looks, but it's like they should be proud of their mom.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have, I mean, they would love me no matter what, but especially them being girls,
Yeah.
want to show them by example that also when they're 40 something they're gonna matter, and when they have kids they're gonna matter, and they understand that now I take time for myself. I
Mm,
go for my walks, or that I
yeah.
do some things that yeah, it's better for them that I'm gone doing something I enjoy and then come back and have full capacity for them, than having me constantly there but on the couch and not able
Yeah.
to interact with them in the way that I would want to. And it was really sad. And I know many of women out there feel that.
It's so amazing to look at you now and, like, see the brightness in your face and the brightness in your eyes, and
Thank you.
share one last thing to the women listening,
Mm,
you know,
mm.
what would it be?
Maybe the most important thing for me, and hopefully helpful for others, is kind of knowing, truly knowing, and believing that it's not you that it's the problem. It's not you. Like in a way, it's you know we are set up for failure. There's demands are too high, so if we're not managing to do it, it's not us, it's the system that's broken.
Yeah.
So that's really important to really truly not constantly, like, you can try to work on some things. This doesn't, what I'm saying now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to, you shouldn't do anything about it.
Mm.
But you should also sometimes really not do anything. And that should be a part of, and yeah, so it's not you, it's the system.
Yeah.
It's not your fault, but there's something you can do about it. And part of doing that to yourself is also sometimes stopping and not doing too much in some periods. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we have to learn to be still and not blame ourselves, but also find a new way. I have
Because really, like, it's not possible to do everything in the modern world. It's just
Yeah. With the
possible.
support and the
Yes.
knowledge of how to support us, right?
Yeah.
We have
All work time and all the activities, and just the how fast the world has become.
yeah.
And without, like you say, the support of, yeah, more people like it used to be. Yeah.
Right, we bring
Especially for me or you, who are immigrants in places where we live and don't have our moms here, or not all the time.
yeah.
Mm.
It's a really good point. I have just been so grateful to meet you, and it's been amazing to see how committed you've been to this process. And I'm so glad that you got the results that you deserve. And I'm really glad that I can call you a friend. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much. I'm really like, I think this, doing this with you was the best thing I could have done for myself, the best gift I've given myself.
So happy. I mean, just to see, I do think women are magic, and when our sparkle kind of dies and fades,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
is out big time, or
Yeah.
out our partners, the other women in our sisterhood miss out, and
Yeah.
so I'm so glad that yours is back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sisters. You've now heard Dragana's story. If you have questions, please reach out. If you have recognized this in yourself or someone else, please share this episode. But most importantly, know that you're not alone and take an action step today to be more in your life and not just less on a scale. We'll catch you in the next episode. If you're 35 plus and ready to stop guessing, start understanding your hormones, and feel your absolute best, hit subscribe. That's what we do here.